Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
A door arm.
Sure.
For LCN closure.
Okay.
And so I sent you some photos, and I was just wondering if you had a chance to glance at that, and then we can go from there. I wasn't sure if you had checked that yet, but.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely did. I replied back to you asking.
Okay. You're wondering if you could.
Yeah.
What I needed or something.
Yeah. You concluded that the installation was faulty. What made you believe it's faulty?
Well, okay, so the I don't remember the terms of it, but that plate that mounts onto the frame that's from the arm.
Blade stop spacer.
Okay, this yeah. Isn't it supposed to go flush to where the door would actually meet, not back behind it?
No, it's in the right position.
It doesn't actually mount. Like from all the drawings that I looked at, it looks like it was supposed to mount. Let me look at it here. Picture. I don't have the right term, so I'm not sure how to explain it. But
oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. You know what? I completely missed it until we're looking at it now. Yeah, so where they've installed that parallel arm bracket, I don't think it's wrong. And I didn't realize it until right now. So
because it's really unstable.
Dan, hold on one second. So where they've installed it is in the rabbet of the frame. It needs to be installed on what's called the soffit. Okay. And yeah, you're right. It's in the wrong spot. That certainly is why the arm.
Would that cause like a? Well, for one, it's not stable. Okay, I know that part because it's very obvious. But would it also just cause it not to close the right way or have the right kind of power to it? Do you think?
Probably to a minor extent, in the sense that the parallel arm bracket, that kind of triangular shaped thing, it's in the wrong. It's at the wrong dimension as measured from the face of the door. It's probably off by an inch and a half. So that would affect the closer and where the spindle is in relationship to the entire closing cycle. It's probably it would probably impede your latching valve. So if you wanted to slow it down the last 10 degree, you're probably not, you're not completely getting into the latching valve would be my guess.
Okay. All right. And so what happened was, and like I said, I'm just totally new to this, and I wanted to try to make sure I did it right, because obviously they've had multiple people come out to this place, and they just keep moving it around and putting new holes into the frame because it kept pulling out of it. But it also, the closure itself, according to the specs, said it was supposed to be, so there's a drop plate because it's a glass door. And so the closure, the drop plate, it says it's supposed to be three quarters of an inch from the top of the door.
Well, so the bottom line is it's certainly in the wrong position because that arm is in the wrong position. Yeah. Now, it looks like they compensated for it to a certain degree so that the drop plate location may not really be in the wrong location too severely. But, you know, the evidence that you have on the header of that arm hitting, that makes sense. So you're right.
No, that's all, and it's hard to see from photos. And so I sent you also a picture of another door on the same building that actually isn't broken yet, but I noticed that it broke the doorstop on the ground for the same reason, probably because it swung too far open because it's just not strong enough. But that's why I wanted to talk with you, because I'm like, well, someone obviously installed it, and I didn't know if they had certain reasons for it, and I didn't understand this, the setup, or if they just had no idea what they're doing, and which could very be possible. And I want to make sure I do it right. So,
yeah, I mean,
does the arm is that that 411062K, which is what was on there, is that correct for that application? The door only needs to go to 90 degrees or 100 degrees. Doesn't have to open all the way.
So the arm, so all the hardware is compatible with a 90 degree, amount of open.
Okay.
When you study the
42-inch wide door.
Okay, that's fine. When you study the installation instructions, you'll see the dimension referenced from the center line of the vertical axis of pivoting, like the hinge barrel, let's say. I think you've got a continuous hinge. Over to the reference point is directly related to the degree of opening you want to achieve. And the further away you move the closer from that vertical axis of pivoting, the smaller the degree of opening gets.
Okay. And the closer to it, obviously, is the more that it would open up.
Yeah, you could really get 180 degrees out of that closer.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to. Pretty sure they wouldn't want to.
But door closers are not stops. They're not intended to prevent an over-limiting of a door. They're just meant to close the door, and you need auxiliary hardware to solve the problem of it swinging too far open.
Okay. So it had a door stop on the ground that broke because the way the wind often blows really hard, it catches that door when someone opens it. And they were, so their next solution is, well, maybe we have to move the door to another corner of the building. But before they go to that point, I'm wondering, is there something else that we could put on there, or a different arm? Like, is there another arm that also allows for a stop, or? I guess I don't really know what I'm talking about, but that's why I thought I'd.
No, you're doing great. The answer is yes. Okay. There are dead stop arms, and there are arms that will dead stop after a very small cushion period, like 5 degrees, and then it dead stops. The issue with that, though, is you might need to reposition the closer laterally to have it dead stop at the degree of opening that you want it to dead stop. You could install it and it might be dead stopping at 110 degree.
Oh, I see. Okay. And those aren't adjustable, correct? Like not on the arm itself. You have to move the move the closure. Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to move. Yeah, it's all about the positioning. So what happens is people will call and say, "Hey, I want to add a hold open to this closer."
Right.
Well, sure you can, but you might have to move the closer because of that relationship.
Okay. So, and then one other question. I noticed there's like a chain or something that some people have added on some doors. Is that something?
You can add a crash chain, but if you're breaking floor stops, you're going to break a crash chain.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, put it on, but it is not the right hardware for this.
Right. Okay. All right. So then also, if you're able to see from that, if I mount the arm in the correct place, do I also need it's like an L bracket or something? For an additional support?
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to use that, and I don't think you would need it. So, I just
because that fifth hole is going to be able to go up into the soffit or the rabbet. Is it the rabbet? Is what you call them?
Well, where it's currently installed is in the rabbet. You're going to move that to the soffit. That fifth hole.
Like a fifth hole.
Yeah, that fifth hole is going to be, when you move that parallel arm bracket in closer to the face of the door, there'll be nowhere for the screw to go through that fifth hole in the parallel arm bracket. And they use those blade stop spacers to stabilize it so you can run that fifth screw. Now, the angle bracket you're talking about, that is the principle of that, to give it the ability to be more stable. I just, I don't think it's going to be necessary, except if you have an extremely abusive application and you're not otherwise stopping the door properly.
Right.
And that kind of hardware is generally an overhead stop, but you've got a conflict of too much material that would need to be installed in the same location. So I would be tempted to go with a spring stop arm. You may be able to relocate, if you had to relocate the closer, okay, you know what, it is what it is. And then you'll just fill in those holes with screws. Just put something in those holes that are abandoned that will make it not look off. Be done with it. Or have a custom drop plate made. Get someone to make you a 1/4-inch plate of steel and punch and countersink holes where they need to be for the templating and make your own. Now, if you were to do that, you may be able to fit an overhead stop there. But if it's not abusive, I'd probably go with the heaviest duty arm possible and just, say, hey, listen, whatever maniac is doing this to your door, don't let him do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is the wind. I mean, that was when they said it really broke, was that it was the wind. They just caught it in the right direction, and it just. But most people, I watch them. Most people aren't opening the door very wide. It's a pretty big door, and they don't open it up super wide. But I think it's just when that wind is blowing a certain way that it. And also, it wasn't even set. I don't think it was set correctly. So it's really loose. Like when it got to open about, say, 60, 70 degrees, there was like no tension to hold it from swinging even further. It just was like really, really loose.
Well, that would be where the back check would start to work.
Yeah. And I adjusted that a little bit yesterday when I was there, but and then also for the spring power, it was set at 3, but according to what the specs say, I believe it should be at like 5.
Yeah, you're actually right. So a 3.0 would be a number 4 because you're parallel arm mounting it, but when you go to a wider door, that would actually be set to a 5. And when that hardware is ordered from the factory by someone like myself, we're obligated to specify that size. So the spring shows up to the job set to the proper setting. Now, many factories don't do that or just neglect to do it, and then the installer does it in the field. But the proper way is that the factory is instructed, I need a size 4 because I got a 3.0 with a parallel arm. Yours would be a size 5. You're right about that.
Okay, and I can just adjust that, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I have a feeling that the way I looked at the rest of this building, the building's only like 5 years old, but whoever, probably just stuck these in there and, I don't know, they didn't know what they were doing.
Clearly.
So what I need is, I need to get a price for that new armature, whichever one is the right one for it, and then also a heavy-duty doorstop that is the dome, and it's the taller one.
Yeah, I understand. I know what to do.
Yeah, but I didn't, like I said, when that armature is like not the slotted one, it's got the hex head on it. And I don't...
The armature?
The armature, the arm on it, where it connects onto the door closure has a hex head and not the slotted ones. And I had looked online and I'd seen some of the same arms with the same number, but they had a slotted
I'm not
head.
Following at all. The arm that I would quote you is going to be meant for that closer body.
Okay. Maybe I was looking at I saw the number of the arm, and then I was online, not on your side, I was looking on another side, and they had the end of it where it connects to the closure is is like a rectangle, not a hexagon. But it had the same number on the arms. That's why I was confused.
Well, it could be a different series closer. I think the 4040s like this are more square. So.
Okay.
But regardless, the arm that you would put on there is going to fit onto the spindle from the closer body.
Yeah. Yeah.
What brought you out to this job site? What was the complaint?
Oh, well, because the arm had broken off, or it was just barely hanging. Somebody had tried to re-bolt it on there, and so it's a emergency maintenance company. They called me because I'm in the local area there. And like I said, I don't normally do this stuff, but I thought, well, I want to be able to learn how to do it because I might be getting more calls.
Absolutely. Yeah, door closers are great for learning because, you've discovered that if you do the research, you will be able to, do it. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
You've got the catalog, you've got the desire and the market demand, and you clearly have the intelligence, the aptitude for it. So, and you've got resources that you can call. If it's not me, it's LCN.
Exactly.
Those people are amazing.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have known anything until I came across your guys' site because I couldn't find a lot of information, and then I found you on there, and I was like, oh, this guy's actually giving some instructions here.
Yeah.
And and even pointing to the catalog and explaining like, here's how you can find out what you need, and I was like, oh, that's really helpful. So
yeah, sometimes it's just I don't have much to say about the item, but let me show you where the encyclopedic information is that I draw on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are you able to like tell me which one I should order then, or what I have to do is I have to get a price at least, and then call back the vendor and let them know, and then I can get that okay, and then I can go ahead and order it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna send you a quote.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the dome style is not a good idea, and that's because you really have only one point of mounting to the ground, and while there are two holes that you drill, there's only one fastener. So I'll recommend something that you'll drill likely, if not one new hole, two new holes. But when there's one screw, it's going to get damaged. There's a United club in O'Hare that I'm in all the time, and that single doorstop has been broken for months, if not years. And and it's because it's just high abuse, high use, and there's just one fastener to the floor. So I'll send you something that you should use for this application, and you won't get called back for that failing.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got your email, and I'm going to send it to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go to the other stores in the same building and talk to them about the same door because they've got the same problem. It just hasn't broken yet completely.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
might be able to get some extra business here.
Absolutely. I had a break-in one time in a condo building, and I ended up doing like 60% of all of the doors in the condo building.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so it's it's hard to find someone who someone who can do the work. So they ought to be quite grateful that they found you.
Yeah, right. Okay, great. And then if from the point of ordering and roughly about how long does that take? Do you have a guess? Like I'm in Washington State. Any guess on? Are you guys...
This material is generally kept in stock, so it's just transit time to get to you. So I wouldn't
like a week or something.
In that range, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, you give me about 5 minutes. I'll have that quote sent over.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.